So guys, two most expensive players to captain are Paul George at $12K and Devin Booker at $11,800. So I need you to chase one and fade the other tonight. Kenny, who are you going to go with?
Yeah, it's a tough decision because both of these guys were really on their game in game one. But if I have to pick one guy that I'm going to lead my lineup with, it's going to be Paul George. I just can't get over the consistency in the usage rate department. It's been 5 games in a row now, 34% or more, or 32% or more, I should say. But really just numbers that you want to see, consistent numbers. He's the safer play of the two captains. I think Devin Booker probably has the higher upside, as he showed you in game one. But look, Paul George is having his Jimmy Butler postseason right now. Paul George is doing something pretty great. He's putting to shame all the people that doubted him. I was one of those people. And, you know, you just have to admire the job that he's done without Kawhi Leonard. He is the guy taking all the shots. He's scored 34 or more points in 2 straight games. 4 of the last 5, he scored 30 points. So he's just going to be the volume shooter here, the volume scorer. And I think that he's the safer of the two options. And, you know, yeah, I love that discount.
Nick, Paul George or D-Book, who are you going with?
I'm going to go the other way here. And Kenny kind of alluded to it. I think Devin Booker maybe has slightly higher upside in this matchup. And part of it is the fact that we don't have Chris Paul. I'm not expecting another 40-point triple-double, certainly. But I think the arrival of Chris Paul has kind of made us forget a little bit of how good of a playmaker Devin Booker had shown that he could be over these last 2 seasons. I mean, before Paul arrived, he was at 6.5 and 6.8 assists per game over the previous 2 seasons. So he's not just a guy who could fill it up from the mid-range and fill it up from 3. I mean, he could get you 6+ assists per game when he's essentially acting as the primary playmaker. And that's what we saw in game one. It was kind of a split between he and Cam Payne. Obviously, with Paul out again, I think we see something similar. So I think we see maybe a decrease in Booker's scoring, but, you know, maybe he doesn't get to 10, 11 assists, but I think 7, 8, 9 is very much possible. You know, he had 5+ assists 4 times in round 1 against the Lakers. The Denver series, a little bit tougher to evaluate because some of those were blowouts. But, man, without Chris Paul in the lineup, I think we see another 40+ minute night from Devin Booker. And if everything's running through him, he's just going to have a ton of opportunities to rack up fantasy stats.
All right, Ryan, we got one for Paul George, one for D-Book. Where are you going?
Yeah, this one was hard. And despite my love for the Suns, I'm chasing Paul George tonight. I think the urgency is higher. And outside, I would think that the Devin Booker 40, 13, and 10 game that he just had was his best performance of his entire career, more than the 70-point game. This is a meaningful, his first Western Conference Finals game ever, and he carries the team to a win. Where the other one was they were like a 20-win team in a meaningless regular season game. So I don't know if Booker repeats that performance, but the urgency is higher for the Clippers. I think that the Clippers, both series previously, have made really good adjustments, and that's what their style of play has been. So I think they make adjustments tonight and not allow a guy to have 40, 13, and 10 on them. So I think Paul George, I'm chasing here.